everyone. Namaste. I'm Swati Thapa. I'm from Nepal. I'm currently associated with Pratima Nimamrimal Foundation as an executive director. And also I'm a governing board of trustee of a semi-government organization, National Trust for Nature Conservation. The topic for my today's webinar will be menstrual hygiene practices and the stressor in adolescence, menstruation, coping strategies, emotional stress, and impact on school absence among young women in Nepal. Basically, today we will talk about the practices, we will talk about different case studies, and also how schoolgirls are coping with the situation. So before starting my presentation, a little bit background about my country. I'm based, I'm from Nepal. We have 7 provinces right now. We have approximately like around 30 million population. We are a sandwich country between India and China. We have 7 provinces. We are currently, my organization and myself, we are based in western part of Nepal. If you see province number 5, it lies in the Nepal-India border side, and we have 77 districts, and we have the highest peak mountain in the world, if you've heard of Mount Everest, and it's 8,848 meters. Today, now moving ahead, today we are going to discuss about menstrual hygiene management. As you know, this wash, basically it's a growing field in the developing world, especially in country like Nepal. It's very important to talk about the menstrual hygiene, about the hygiene, about the health issues, about the health and education. Basically, I'm going to start with a little bit background, because young girls especially, in country like Nepal, they often face confusion, and they often surprises when they have their menstruation for the first time, and there are less education or knowledge about this one in this sector. So there are some kind of cultural, social taboos as well. There are practices, there are stigmas, and also especially there's a lack of hygiene behavior. So we have done research. So based on the data that we have collected, based on the information that we have gathered, and on the base of the practices, today I would like to share some of the data and also some of the case study in this webinar. Also like some of the interventions that we could do together. For example, developing education training materials or curriculum, or teachers training, and also skill development training program about how to make them very much empower by making them capable of sharing with their daughters, with their parents, so this is how we have started some kind of initiative. Basically, if you go back to the data a little bit earlier, according to demographic and health survey conducted in Nepal, especially in the year 2016, sorry, I need to go back. 2016, 1 in 3 women, especially 15 to 49, they have no education, and 70% women only, especially 17% women, 70% of women, they only have attended like primary schools, while 26% of women, they have attended some secondary schools. There are even like studies that have shown that in Nepal, attending literacy classes can increase women's knowledge of health-related issues, and also increase their decision-making power within the family regarding health-related needs. In case of Nepal, especially when it comes to menstruation, when you talk about the menstruation, when you talk about the cultural taboos, menstrual hygiene management, or the topic menstrual hygiene, has gained wide attention because of particular concern or the practices, I would say ill practices known as Chaupadi Pratha. If you have heard of the keyword Chaupadi, it's basically a practice which is deeply rooted in the tradition and also a centuries of old harmful religion and cultural practices. Basically, what happens is when you have the menstruation, or young girls, they have the menstruation for the first time, especially in the western part of the country, they are considered as impure, or they are very considered as untouchable, and also they are considered as unclean in the menstrual period, and also especially when they give birth to a child, so especially in Chaupadi Pratha, young girls, they are not allowed to participate in any social functions of the family. Young girls, they are not allowed to go to schools. Young girls, they are banished, they are sent out of their house. They are not allowed to live in their house, inside the house, with their father, mother, or like brothers, sisters, but they have to go outside the house and live in huts, or cow shed, or live sheds. They sleep in a very suffocated area. They cook on their own in the firewood in a small hut. I'm going to show you the video later on. But these kind of harmful practices still prevails in the society, especially in the western part of Nepal, which is very harmful for the physical as well as the emotional health of women as well as young girls. And when talking about psychological stress, and the mental health issue, that is another big issue with all those women and young girls. Okay, so now moving forward in this one, I would like to give you my own experiences when I was deputed to work in Jumla district. It's the Midwestern part of Nepal. So when I was back in the year, I just want to share my own experience as well. Back in the year 2013, I was working as a climate change officer with the United Nations and Ministry of Environment project called Nepal Climate Change Support Program. And when I was there, one of the office helper or office staff, who was responsible to take care of the office work, he said that he belonged to Jumla, and he told me that, for the first time I went to that part of the country, and he told me that, ma'am, please, when you have your menstruation, please do not enter the kitchen of our house. Please do not touch and come inside and touch food, because if you'll do that, then something bad will happen to us. Something bad will happen to me. Something bad will happen to my family. And even like he told me, that for 5 days, especially for 5 days, do not come inside the kitchen and eat. So what happened that for once, for 2 months, I just did not have my periods. Normally you have your periods in a month, but for 2 months, due to some or the other reason, maybe I did not have my periods. So every time, maybe he thought that I was lying to him, I was lying to him that I was having my periods, and I was entering the kitchen, I was touching everywhere, I was touching him, or I was going to the offices and everything. So he said that he got very sick. He said that, after 2 months, he said, I have my stomach pain. I'm not feeling well. It might be an emergency case. I might have to go to another district in good hospitals for the treatment, because something is bothering me too much. Something bad is happening to me. And that's how he said. So despite of not having the periods, I thought that that was a very strong psychological thing in that guy. So because we used to live in the same house. And I told him that despite of not having periods, I told him that, see, I have my periods after 2 months. So I'm not going to enter the kitchen, or like I'm not going to touch anywhere. And after a few hours, he said, I'm fine now. I do not have stomach pain. So these kind of very strong, psychological or the cultural practices are still prevails in the society, especially in the far western part of Nepal. Here are like some of the interesting case studies that I would like to share with you, that this is the very harmful practices, because there are cases where women die when they are sent to the separate hut or the cowshed in the village areas. In the year 2017, in one of the district, Doilik district, it's in the western part of the Nepal. So there was a lady, Tulashi Shai. She went to stay at her uncle's hut. When he keeps his cows tied up, she slept on the wooden boards. She laid on the ground. She was bitten by poisonous snake. Her mother took her to shaman, but there was no cure. There was no good hospitals. She was not treated well. As a result, she died. So these kind of superstitious, very strong superstitious belief is very ill practices in the society. As a result, many people, they raise the voice, many institutions, they raise the voice, and the Supreme Court of Nepal in the year 2005 banned this practice called Chaupadi Pratha. So, especially even after this culture or practice getting banned because of lack of education among women, or still, the strong psychological thing, or many issues, this was not basically implemented. I would say this was not basically implemented in the country, especially like despite of this getting banned, it is still practiced in the society. So in relation to this, in many parts of the country, especially not only far western, but in other parts of the country also, especially women as well as young girls, they are not allowed to cook. They are not allowed to worship any temples. They are not allowed to visit family and friends. In the part of the country that I live in, when you have the menstruation, you are not allowed to touch male members of the family. So we need more awareness, we need more education, we need more research regarding this, as well as other topics related to menstrual hygiene. Regarding this, I'd like to show you a short video to give a clear picture about what I'm talking right now. This is in Nepali language, but you can read, the. Okay, so here we go. So this is how Chaupadi Pratha is practiced in Nepal. Okay, so here. So this is very unfortunate that the situation still prevails in the situation, still prevails in the country. This is the case that I was talking about, especially, huts, the small huts that you saw. They are made of mud and straw. And during the very extreme temperature, it's very suffocating. There are even cases where young girls, they have died because of suffocations. And there are also cases of sexual abuse. There was a rape case in the year 2000, recently in the year 2021, when a young girl, she was having a menstruation and she was practicing, she was forced to practice this Chopari Pratha when she was inside the hut. She was also raped. So basically, exact numbers are difficult to determine, but still, like, in last 13 to 14 years, already 15 to 16 women and young girls, they have died, and it has been recorded. So this is very unfortunate. There are like other issues of hygiene and everything. In 2008, there was a huge discussion, and the public campaign was running in the country about this issue as well. After that, in the year 2017, National Parliament criminalized the practice of 3 months jail or 3,000 rupees fine for forcing women in Chaupadi Pratha. But still, the practice still prevails in the society, and this is a very illegal practice, and it should be completely removed from by making them aware, by giving them more education in schools, and many other interventions should be made. Basically, when you talk about Chaupadi Pratha, there was another interesting story of a police woman who was practicing this Chaupadi Pratha, and when a cow urinated on her face, then she decided to raise her voice against this practice, and eventually she joined the police forces as well. This is one case, but there are many other issues, like these young girls, these women, they do not have pads, sanitary pads. They do not wash their hands. They do not have enough water in some of the villages. They use old rags, and they have many reproductive health problems as well. This was the case, as you saw. This picture also is related to the video that we just saw, living outside in the cow shed or the small hut in villages. So as being associated with not-for-profit social organization in western part of Nepal, it's a we decided, because since we work in health, education, environment projects and programs, especially we work for the underprivileged, underserved, and marginalized community. We in different schools with different research institutions and also different organizations, we decided to run the campaign, as well as we started different research programs on this specific topic, in order to draw the attention of people, of the government, national government, of the local government, and others. In addition to this, we also, PNMF is also basically policy-oriented research organization. Out of the research that we do, that we focus, we develop a policy recommendation for the government. That's how we take our initiative forwards. I don't want to go deep into it. Maybe I can share you the link later on about our organization. So this is our organization. We do various works and menstrual hygiene and women's health and education. We are academic education institute as well. So we focus on the different thematic areas. So basically, with the menstrual hygiene project, our goal is to provide safe and reusable, low cost, I would say low cost menstrual hygiene kits to rural high school students and community women. The first one. The second one, it is very important looking at the cases of the practices of the hygiene of the of the situation that is prevailing in the country. It is very important for us to educate and improve awareness for women through education and training programs. We basically work at the grassroots level. The third one is we introduce menstrual hygiene practices to make them aware, and also its impact. And we try to coordinate with the local municipalities, with the rural municipalities, to encourage them to incorporate all these issues in the school curriculum. Another one is we try to provide tools and knowledge for menstrual kit production as well to support and empower women. We gather data for research and learning. For example, this is just an example, the awareness, like teaching young girls or women in school, women in the community, and making them aware about the menstrual hygiene, giving them knowledge and developing their skills, various skills, like the women in the community. We are planning a project to teach them how to make low-cost sanitary pads, which is useful for themselves as well as their children, their women. And also we try to empower them through digital learning center. We just developed a women community center. We launched before 1.5 years. It's in the building of Pratimani Memorial Foundation. And this is how we try to establish all these community engagement projects through our digital learning center as well. Also interestingly here, I'd like to share that despite of many problems, especially in Western Nepal, we as the social organization, not-for-profit organization, we were the first one to launch or open the separate toilets, separate toilets for girls to change their sanitary pads, because it was very important to make them aware and give them knowledge and to train them about the menstrual hygiene management. So we launched a separate room for that. That's how that was a part of encouraging young girls and women and drawing their attention towards menstrual thing as well. So here are some of the data. I would like to tell you that, with the Nepal Study Center of University of New Mexico, we did a little bit of research on the menstrual hygiene in government schools in Siddharth Nagar municipality, as well as Furkut. Furkut is in the upper side of western part of Nepal. So this is a sample study that we did. While doing research in some of the literatures review, there were provided evidences that knowledge is powerful in changing behavior and can be done through schools, especially. And also the hypothesis is that given that the cultural norms or taboos, it is very hard to change policy, and our strongest results refer to the mitigating power of school infrastructure as well. Another is with greater awareness of supporting infrastructure, girls would then have better coping skills, resulting in improvements of psychological well-being, leading to additional benefits on improved attendance rating. Some of the ratings. So this is the research we did together with University of New Mexico. Before that, I'd like to go and give information about some of the data, some of the study. For example, in water aid study of school girls in Nepal, it showed that 92% of girls had heard about menstrual before it occurred. They were often not told. I was even not told by my parents about the menstrual. I belong to, city, Kathmandu. I'm from Kathmandu, but I was never told before I had my first menses. I had never heard about it. So in case of Nepal, there are many places or girls, young girls, they do not hear about the menses before they have their first menses. So they were often not told about specific details about the physical processes, and found their menstruation and experience of shock and fear. That happened to me as well, because I cried a lot when I had my first menses. I thought that I'm going to die, so it was a very difficult situation due to lack of knowledge. So it would be nice to introduce some kind of curriculum, some kind of education in the curriculum itself. The second one, in a survey conducted in rural Nepal, researchers found that 50% of the girls, we also found in our research, which I'll explain later, 50% of the girls, they missed the schools, and 82%, they did not participate in any cultural function during their menstruation. With the passage of time, because of raising voices, because of different organizations, because of different NGOs, there are changes, there are positive changes as well. We have been able to draw attention to some level, but still all these practices, all these problems prevails at a high level in a society, especially in a country like Nepal. And also a UNICEF study revealed that while close to 3/4 of schools have at least one toilet, we have a huge problem, especially in the rural community, that girls, they do not have the separate toilet. Here, 36% have a separate toilet for girls, because girls do not view school as a place where they can seek information or support about dealing with menstruation. With only 3% of the girls studied, listing teachers as a source of information and support. Normally, menstruation, when you talk about menstruation in our culture, basically young girls and women, they take it as they are very shy to talk about it. They are not very open to it. They feel very embarrassed to talk about it. So there are many problems related to psychological or lack of knowledge and education as well. Another survey of 3 schools with girls aged 13 to 18 found that 85% of girls only began to understand more about menstruation after it actually started, and almost 30% of girls were unable to correctly identify a typical menstrual cycle length in days. So these are some of the data, interesting data that you'll find in the study. The recent work that we have done with Nepal Study Center has also shown lack of appropriate facilities, knowledge and hygiene surrounding menstruation. In average, basically in average, the average age of our sample was 281 and is equal to 281, was 16.6 years old. In terms of products used during menstruation, we found out that we found out that around 20% are still using old clothes or rags, and 19% don't change their pad at a regular interval level. Additionally, while 89% do not use soap because they do not have soap, they use that, they rather use mud, especially in the remote areas. Remote areas, only 10% know how to use access to antiseptic products to clean their hygiene products. Additionally, while 58% report feeling pain because they have their stomach pain, they do not complain that much about it. When they have very severe pain, only they complain to their teachers or their mother and other members of the family. That's what we found out in our research. And also only 16% use a hot pack, and only 23% seek medicine or a doctor to deal with their pain, because this pain is taken as a very normal pain. The family member do not pay that much attention to it. When the young girls, they're sick due to various problems. Basically, they are not taken to the hospitals, or the medicines are not given to them. We found out that 35% report missing schools. Many young women from their home, they are not allowed to go to their schools when they have their menstruation. Many young girls, they feel very embarrassed to go to their schools, and Also due to many other cultural problems, where young women, young girls, they are sent to live in the cowshed huts, where they practice Chaupadi Pratha. They're like, we found out that in the sampling, we just did sampling in Siddhartha Nagar and the food court in 2 of the areas. There we found out that 35% report missing schools. But when you see, when you take the sample of the whole western part of Nepal, the percentage would be very high. And also 44% report knowing someone who has dropped out of the school. There are cases where students, they have dropped out schools because of the menstruation problem as well, which is likely associated with only 40% reporting that their school facilities have a separate toilet. They do not even have a separate. The recent, I visited some of the schools that we have visited. We work with different schools to train teachers as well as the students, and we have developed some kind of citizen science projects as well. When we visit school, there's a very sad and the pathetic situation that there are no roofs, there are no separate toilets, there are no water, there are no soap in the schools. So this is a huge problem. The hygiene problem is also a huge problem. Only 31% have soap, and 70% report that there's no hygiene curriculum regarding menstruation in school. Further, as I have mentioned before, despite the formal laws banning this Chaupadi Pratha or these kind of evil practices, 5.6% still claim that they are required to live in a separate house when menstruating. This is about this research. Overall, these restrictions place a heavy mental burden on these girls, where 47, when you talk about the stress, 47% report feeling sad or lonely during menstruation, and 69% report life as hard or very hard to manage during menstruation, with only 37% reporting a day as normal when menstruation. In total, 50% practice Chaupadi, and they don't even know that they have a law. Actually, people are not aware that they have a law. Young girls, they are not aware through education also that they have a law regarding this. They cannot raise their voice against it. They are very helpless. They are treated very badly in the society. This is how the practices are going. They are considered as untouchables. No one touches them when they have their menstruation. So these are the practices that's going on in the society. So these are some of the initiatives, the photos that I took when we initiated this project, like, about the research that we did together with Nepal Study Center. A very rich research report have been produced. And also we distributed reusable menstrual hygiene kits at the community level. We give them reusable sanitary pads, as you can see in the pictures, underwear, small towel, where they were taught how to wash their hands as well, and how to use the towels after they wash their hands. Also use soap. We give them small soap and small Ziploc bag as well. This is how we introduce this program in the society. Now the next level would be to train community level women on how to make the sanitary pads. And also we would like to focus on the market linkages and business development so that they can make their own sanitary pads and also make them as a source of the income or the livelihood from that business. This is basically to empower, small initiative to empower them at the community level. On the right hand side, the photo, you can see the discussion with the women that we did, the research and everything. On the left hand side, it's with the students of different schools. Small flyer that I would like to show you here, flyer that we made. Okay, so okay, So this is the women support for women hygiene feminine project in Nepal. This is how we did. I just wanted to show you to how we did. And also some of the facts from prior UNM student research during menstrual cycle is 30% do not use disposable products, but rather rag clothing that leave the women susceptible to diseases. 30% miss their school during their cycle. Women and girls are emotionally depressed because of social and cultural stigma. So this is some of this is the flyer that we need for women to have. Women Hygiene Project in partnership with the University of New Mexico Nepal Study Center. So moving forward, some of the intervention ideas that we just talked about. Student awareness about ill practices. It is very important to introduce awareness in schools about these ill practices and also about the hygiene. We should introduce training and workshop in schools. As the Pratimani Memorial Foundation, we have been doing this. We are trying to do this. We are trying to, especially in rural parts of the country, especially in the government schools, we are targeting students and also the teachers. It is very important to teach teachers about all these things so that they can give back to the students and also make them aware about all these things. And also we encourage them to include in the main topic or the subject or the curriculum or the extra curriculum. We are encouraging them to introduce. We are even talking with the local government, with the rural municipality to support us in this campaign or in this initiative that we are doing to empower young women and girls. Especially if we are able to do this, then there will be high number. As a result, there will be high number of attendance rate. They will not miss their schools. They will be able to be very active. They will be physically well. They will be psychologically very strong. So all these things, we are trying a small initiative. And also in order to make them local women their mothers especially, very aware about all these things and to bring about the change, we are building up a community innovation lab, community learning center that we have already launched, that I discussed before as well, to provide healthcare training, education, and also give them skills and knowledge about the digital skills. The third thing, with e-portal training, workshop, brochure, we can improve individuals' healthcare knowledge and education level in order to change their behaviors about their health, their family members' health, and even the environmental health with long-term sustainable support for the lab. This is the community learning center that we introduced. In 1 week, we bring about 6 to 7 women from different communities, and we try to give them knowledge and training through the digital skills, through the normal as well as the digital skills. That's how we have launched this community learning center in western part of Nepal. The community learning center, why we introduced community learning center was to provide the platform for women gathering where they can talk to each other and get information between themselves. The center will offer workshop learning materials to provide health information and also enhance women's knowledge of personal health, including menstrual hygiene. We teach them about the hygiene, we teach them about the ill practices. We encourage them to take care of their daughter. We give them training on how you should leave these kind of ill practices in the society, and how you should give love to your daughter in this time, how the young girls, they need special attention. The second one is the e-portal can train women with innovative ways and increase willingness to learn for the women, also through the digital skills. We are just trying to encourage them more towards the digital skills as well. Third, we will encourage healthcare camps at the center to provide health checkup for women and other potential healthcare services. As I said before, due to all these practices and due to limited availability of the facilities, there are many problems related to reproductive health problem as well. Also there are many other problems. So we organize healthcare camps from time to time. Fourth, based at the Community Learning Center and ePortal Innovation, our group will conduct a 6-month pilot intervention before and after we do the surveys. We'll have survey to examine the women's knowledge and analyze the impact of the intervention as well. It is very important to further provide better long-term intervention. And out of all these, the things we are doing about the awareness, about the research, about the community engagement, about different campaigns, through the result, whatever we gather information, the data, we develop a policy recommendation paper for the local government, for the provincial government, to bring about positive change in the society, to bring about the policy changes. That's how we are working. We are dedicated to work at the local level. That's how we are doing. At last, about this project, the project will develop a community-based intervention methods to improve women's health knowledge, attitude as well, and finally the behavior. The project results, reports, and academic publications will help the Nepali government, as I said before, and other organizations working in the country in the intervention for individuals' health and behavior. This is how we have started. There are many problems related to social behavior and consequences as well. It's a huge problem of young girls missing schools as well that I discussed before. There are like the child brides as well. There are other problems related to it. So they are the future of the nation. They should be taken care properly. They should get all the facilities, and from the grassroots level, starting from the mind setting, there should be a change. So this is the initiative that we are taking right now. With this, for today, with a small information about all these cases, about the practices, and about the data, about the stress and the coping strategies, how we are doing it, and also about the intervention idea. I would like to thank you all for the attention. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, if you want to know more about our initiatives, about the practices, please feel free to reach out to me. We should work together, hand in hand, to bring about positive change in the society, especially for young girls and women. We should help them a lot in this sector. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention and your time. Take care. Goodbye. See you. Bye.